We are with Caren Field, and Caren is with us. Pathway to Partnership.
The Path to Partnership.
The Path to Partnership. I wanted to get that right. The Path to Partnership, as in TO and .com.
Correct.
All right. Do you have any plans for New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, yeah, we're going to the cherry ball drop.
Oh, are you? Yeah, you do that every year. And then here's Dave. He's on camera. Say hi, Dave. And
hi, Dave.
So you're going to go down. Gosh, he's handsome.
I know, right?
Yeah, right. So you're going to go down there, and are you going to start at Mr. Lane's house?
We might do that, yeah. We're actually going to the Sips and Giggles at the Old Town Playhouse.
Oh, that'll be fun, too.
A little comedy.
Well, we want to talk a bit about your business and a little bit about your education. Let's start with that.
Okay, I went to Western Michigan, and I got my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. And I do professional counseling for couples. And that's what I do. I love it.
We've talked before, so I'm going to go ahead and repeat some of the questions I'd asked, but we never had your lovely face on before and on WGML, so let's do it all again.
Okay.
When people first meet, you said there are some kind of do's and don'ts. For instance, don't let your heart be guided by the attraction physically.
Yeah, chemistry will kill it. People, you lose your sanity if your brain is literally filled with hormones, and so you're not clearly thinking. You're on drugs essentially.
Yeah.
So you don't make a lot of really good decisions.
Well, that's why we could never get along, because you were just blinded by my handsomeness.
Exactly.
And we also spoke before for people who are planning on getting married or haven't gotten engaged yet, and you guys are engaged too, by the way.
We got engaged in October.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you have since, let's go ahead off the beaten track a little bit. You have set a date and a place.
We have set a date, yes, and the place is sort of pinned down.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dave on that one.
It's a little up in the air. We're still contemplating eloping to Bermuda, and then just having an after party here on the beach somewhere.
Yeah, in the summertime, so Bermuda would be okay.
Oh, it'll be gorgeous.
It's not tropical, but it is a very wonderful place. I've never actually been there, so
it's beautiful.
Premarital counseling, that's what I was going to get to. I think you recommend it. I think it's a good idea. Why and what do you do?
Premarital counseling is a really great idea, but a lot of people who are engaged don't do it because they think we're in love and we don't need counseling. Everything's great. Everything will work out fine after the wedding. So they a lot of times won't come in. But what I do is have people learn how to communicate with each other in a way that works for both people, and then also teach them how to negotiate and make deals and all that kind of stuff.
This was back in the 80s, so 35 years ago, and I was in college, and what I noticed was your degree or where you were headed, your future, was looked at by the opposite sex. They were like, oh, he's pre-med. Oh, he's, Now, you've come a long way, baby, right? This was a long time ago, but that was part of it, and I'm told that's part of the nesting process.
It's part of the instinct, the survival instinct is part of it is procreate, and procreate has to do with who you're with. So the status of the person that you're with will help you to survive. So if the person has more resources, it could be their education, it could be their money, it could be their height, it could be their status in the community. All of those things will make the opposite sex look more attractive to you and make your inner cave woman or caveman more interested in the person.
So what kind of questions do you ask? Just those in generality?
What do you mean?
In other words, do you ask them about what their goals are and some of the common things? Ask, well, what do you ask? I'll leave that to you.
A lot of times I ask them, like, tell me why you're getting married. And some of the answers I get are pretty funny.
I'm waiting.
I heard a woman one time, she said, oh, well, we dated and then we broke up, and I dated a bunch of other people, and he was the one I liked the best. And I was like, that's not really a good reason to get married.
Out of all the fish in the sea, you like that one, I guess.
Settling.
It's, You
Yeah.
know what? Is it practical though? I mean, it sounds like it's a little bit practical. What answer do you want to hear? What do you like to hear?
Because we're in love, because I want to spend the rest of my life with the person, because they make me want to be a better person. They bring out the best in me. I don't want to live without them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all good reasons, but it's more convenient if we live together. So we save money. That's not really a good reason.
Yeah.
I've heard that one too.
Well, she's pregnant. You know, and my parents were married 60 years, and that's why they got married. I mean, that's what you did back in the late 40s, early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about that in ways that people run into stumbling blocks, I thought the number one thing way back when was they're going to argue about sex. I'm told it's not.
It's oftentimes it's not sex. It's finances. It's,
Money.
It's mostly just the little things. I call them, they're pet peeves, but they're just the little things that they build up over time. So he leaves the cap off the toothpaste, or they don't fold the laundry the right way, or those kinds of things where they just build up and build up and build up, and they don't know how to communicate that they're upset with it. So it just keeps building, and the resentment grows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like when people bring that up, because that way it might be something silly like you leave the silverware drawer half open all the time. It's like, well, why don't you say that? But I guess what I'm hearing is you say that these issues fester.
Yeah. I had a couple one time. It's one of my favorite stories. The noise of the coffee grinder was like nails on a chalkboard to her, and she never said anything to him about it. And in her mind, she thought, well, it's not really that big of a deal, and I shouldn't be worried about it, and I don't want to bother him because then he won't be able to drink coffee, and that's not fair, and I don't want to be that kind of person, and I just need to get over it. And so she never said anything to him. So in our session, we talked it through, and she told him why it bothered her and how upset it made her every morning, and she'd get over it as soon as it was done, but every day. And after about a minute of him being like, why didn't you ever tell me? He finally said, I can make the coffee when you're in the shower. I can make the coffee when you're blow drying your hair. And at the grocery store, they sell a product called pre-ground coffee.
It doesn't taste good, and you know it.
Yeah.
But you just go ahead.
And the next week she came back and she was like, for 12 years I put up with that. Why did I do that? All I had to do was say something to him one time, and it's done. It's not a thing anymore.
Right. Well, here's the $1 million question as we go to Dave. Dave.
Yes.
How did you guys meet? Tell us your story.
Actually, way back in '83, we went to high school together and dated for possibly a brief time, and that was enough to send a message to my brain. But it was years and years and years later, as I was relocating to Traverse City, a mutual friend had given me contact information on Caren, and
We're going to break right there. I got to get rid of
They're crying.
sounded like me.
Yeah, the way we go. So let's turn our attention to Dave, the lucky guy. Tell us about how you met.
Well, we'd actually met back in high school, back in the early 80s, and had crossed paths briefly, and life and so forth happened for 30 some odd years, and I found myself relocating to Traverse City. And a mutual friend had made a connection. We refer to him as Cupid. And as I came up here one time, we went out for coffee and to Empire Bluffs, and that was it.
That was it.
I saw you at the parking lot.
And you went, wow, was that really Caren?
Yeah.
Why didn't the sparks fly the first time? It's a fair question.
I had a crush on him. We had a 9th grade gym class together.
Oh, come on. Did they do the co-ed thing back then?
Yeah.
Ladies,
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a crush on
lessons.
him, and then he left school and went to the Leelanau school. So he left, and I never heard from him again. And I always wondered, whatever happened to Dave?
What happened to that guy?
What happened to him?
So you're going to settle on that day and time, and I'm sorry I interrupted. Dave.
No
Go ahead.
worries.
I didn't. How do you do that yourself? How do you decide to? And thank you. How do you decide to analyze that yourself. I mean, was Dave intimidated by the fact that you help people in relationships and marriage? And oh my God, what am I doing?
No, actually, it's really interesting. Is other people that I've dated, I've said that I'm a marriage counselor, and I get this like recoiling, and they sort of lean back. And when I told him, he leaned forward, and he thought it was very interesting.
Well, that is interesting. Yeah, that would be my reaction is, oh no, she's going to analyze me and figure me out. I don't want to marry my mom.
No, I don't analyze him because I'm too busy analyzing myself.
No, is that right? Give us a name of the website again and how people can get a hold of you as we're talking.
It's thepathttopartnership.com, and the phone number is 231-660-1017.
All right. And so you take private or group sessions and...
Yep, individual and couples counseling.
And couples counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, tell me a little bit more about what do you like to do? What do you guys have in common?
Ice skating last night.
We went ice skating last
Aw.
night. Yep, we're going cross-country skiing in the winter.
Get out and enjoy.
Yeah.
Hiking and nature.
For the time that I've known you, Dave, you're kind of an outdoorsy person, you know.
Yeah.
We get talking and it's like, oh my gosh, you're like an adventurer. You've done all these other things. And we've talked with Caren before and about how you have to bring new blood into the relationship because I've been in a relationship where I'm here. What do you want me to do? Oh, you don't want to go for a walk? Okay, we won't go for a walk. Let's just watch TV. And Kathy, here's a little plug for her. She has all these outside interests, photography, cross-country skiing, mountain biking, all these other things that she does. And she's very comfortable doing that. And I'm okay with that. But that brings up the bigger question of the adjustment. You say that, you can't just go head over heels infatuated with somebody. But at the same time, you take the good, you take the bad. And I'm not going to break into a song. But it is that way because I see Kathy and all of her attributes and very respected in the Pharmacists Association for Michigan. Mm-hmm. But there's other things just so minute I won't even mention them. You like that? and it's true though. You just kind of think, well, this isn't perfect. I can deal with that. Can I deal with that? Is that a deal breaker? I think as one counselor once said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people will compromise their deal breakers. So they'll say, oh, I don't want anyone who smokes. And then they'll meet somebody that they're very attracted to who smokes. And they'll be like, well, as long as he doesn't smoke inside, it's fine. Yeah. So they'll compromise on their deal breakers. And then you can only put up with so much.
But you're saying that's okay.
And for so long. Well, I'm saying if you have a deal breaker, that
obviously
breaks the deal.
If you have a deal breaker, I guess so.
But people will fudge their deal breakers. Well, it's not really a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Because you're cute, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah, they just keep me out of this conversation. You really should. So where are you guys gonna nest? I guess you were in Colorado, I believe you said. Montana,
yeah.
And where do you guys want to settle down? If the word settle down even applies anymore.
We're staying here.
I'd say right here. This has been around the world, and I've been drawn back to this area many times. There's just something about the peninsula and this area that.
Well, we didn't talk much about.
Speaks to me.
What do you do?
A couple things. I'm working with the VA with the Vet to Vet program. We're meeting on the porch. I think on 8th Street, 5:30 on Fridays. It's peer to peer. It's vets, and we're just taking care of each other. That's part of the motto is teach some, learn some, and we just help each other out. And whether it be through it's not really associated. It's not on the VA grounds, but it's veterans taking care of ourselves.
Where did you serve? What branch, etc.?
U.S. Navy nuclear subs, Cold War.
Trident
Coast.
missiles.
Yeah. Just below that. It was before the Ohio class. It was an earlier Francis Scott Key.
Wow.
And I've worked in aerospace, had my own company for 15 years doing woodworking, glasswork, metalsmithing. And then just a rare opportunity came up. I got to go to Iraq.
Lucky you.
Yeah, of my own free will.
Well,
when it was an
thank you,
independent
you know.
contractor to support the U.S. and coalition troops. And it was an experience. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
I have to ask this because it's just a silly question probably, but did you meet her parents for the first time? Had you met before? What was
No,
that?
actually,
Karen's laughing. This is going to be good. This is going to be good.
this first day, yeah, basically the first day, we'd gone to the farmer's market and ran into him downtown and had dinner with him the first night. I mean, that was
Really?
that was right out of the chute. But
Not only that, my brother and his wife as well.
right, I got the whole family.
You don't seem like a guy who would be intimidated by that.
No, I really enjoyed it. It's nice to be in a big family again, and it's a beautiful situation. I love it. It's,
Yeah. All right. Now we get to hear Karen's version of this whole thing. We have to decipher the giggles and had you ever met his parents before? And where you are? She's blushing.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
No, I have never met his parents.
no, they're no longer with us.
They're no longer with us.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
but I've met his brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Brother and sisters.
and sisters.
Yes.
Yes.
And
But I have not met his children yet, so that's on the calendar for later.
yeah, sure. How old are your kids? I mean, I don't mean to get personal here. I'm just
28,
making conversation.
28, 24, and 22.
Are they spread out then? Or-
They're all in Texas, and they all want out.
They all want out of Texas?
Yeah.
No, seriously, you're serious.
Yeah, they want out.
I have never heard anything except great from Texas. Why would you want out?
Because I'd spent so much time there, and they've traveled, and they know that there's other stuff besides
Right.
Texas.
Yeah.
So,
I don't like spiders, snakes, nor scorpions.
oh well, then don't
Yeah,
go to Texas.
I don't think that would necessarily be the place for me. So tell us more about your work. I mean, where do you meet people? You're in the Traverse City area, obviously, but let's expound on that a little bit. I think it's interesting.
Okay. I have an office on Garfield, and people can come in and usually meet for 75 minutes, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, and I help them through their issues and problems.
What will they find on your website? The pathway to
The path to
the path
partnership.
to I'll never
The
get that
path
right.
to partnership.
The
.com.
path to partnership.com. I'm such an idiot. I usually write those down, and I have a little cheat card
That's all
because
right.
I thought I'd actually remember after talking to you how many times.
Many.
So do you have anything on the website that people can look at, or maybe a self-help or a test or conversation starter?
Yeah, if you look on my website, which is thepathtopartnership.com,
I heard that.
you can find under free stuff, there's articles that I've written and podcasts from previous shows. And there's also an opportunity to sign up for my online program, which is called Partnership Boot Camp. It's 50 days. Oh, dog. There's 50 days on the path to partnership, and it goes through different things to see if you're a good partner. So a lot of times people will be trying to decide, should I stay in this relationship or should I leave? And most of the time people will think it's my partner who has the problem. So if you do this partnership boot camp, you can see what you're doing that doesn't work, and you can shift your behavior and turn things around.
Do you give people homework?
I do give people homework.
Oh, I
Do
knew
they
that.
do it? Not very often.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, we meant to. I knew you were going to ask, but that's what happens. What do you ask people to do?
I usually have people just try to notice things, like just notice what you're thinking, notice what happens to you when this certain thing happens, or, try communicating differently. Try not blurting everything out that comes to your mind.
One thing that we spoke of before was the guy who wants to, in the typical, wants to fix the problem. Wife comes home and says, "Oh, jeez, it's been a terrible work. My boss is asking me to do too much." And immediately, I'll jump in and say, "Well, have you talked to your boss about it? Well, have you talked to the shop steward about it? Have you, well, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this." No, you shouldn't.
That does not go well for you, does it?
No.
No.
But I'm a very slow learner. So it's something that has to be in the conscious right up front too, because you will fall back to those habits all the time. You want to fix it.
Yeah.
She just wants to unload it.
Yeah, she just wants to unload it. So how you can help her fix it is just let her unload it. Just like hold a bucket and let her vomit into the bucket, whatever she has to say. And then ask her, is there more? Is there more? Anything else? What else about that?
One thing that we talked about on last week's show was the Caren Field, by the way, is our guest, along with her fiance, the handsome Dave. He'll now forever be known as the handsome Dave. The depression, whether it be grief or whatever, we're on the holiday season. I know that that's kind of common. Do you have any recommendations for that, or are you more relationship based?
It's more relationship based, but I can help individuals as well if they've got something going on. A lot of the times it has to do with the thought process and like what something will happen and then you'll interpret it a certain way, and that interpretation is what you're basing everything off of, and the interpretation may or may not be accurate. So if you can sort of shift and look from a different point of view, oftentimes you can find a lot of release and a lot of healing.
As the guy in the relationship tries to fix things, sometimes we take it to heart too. She's upset. She's mad. Oh, what did I do? Guilty conscience, I guess I'll call it.
Do you take it personally, or you feel badly that she's upset?
No, you take it personally. You swear you did something, and in some cases it is. You say, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "Nothing." "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Oh yeah. Want to bet? Oh, let's sit down and talk. I mean, what do you do there?
Right.
Here, have another glass of wine.
Here's some chocolate.
Here's some. Just throw chocolate at her and keep moving. I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, that's not the professional advice.
No, it's probably not.
Professional advice usually has to do with having a conversation, and talking is usually the last thing people want to do with the person that they're having an upset with. So usually they'll talk to somebody else instead. So rather than me saying to you, hey, this thing that you're doing is bothering me, or this thing that is going on is upsetting me, I'll talk to somebody else about it and find out what they think I should do, and talk, instead of talking to the person who can actually do something about it. So it really is a lot of overcoming your instinct to avoid talking to the person that is causing you the problem, because we don't like confrontation. And so there's ways to have a conversation like that is not confrontational at all.
Well, here's something that I'm going to bring up. People will go, uh-huh, and nod their head. Your relatives, your parents, somebody else gets involved and says, you know, did you ever notice that your husband or your wife or advice?
If the family members are
yeah, they're critical, and you know that you know better than they do what their faults are.
So you don't need to hear it from your family?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you should have a conversation with that person.
With the family member.
Yeah, and say, it bothers me when you speak about my spouse that way.
Wow.
Oh, direct honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
concept.
Yeah. We now go to therapist Handsome Dave. And has anything like that ever played into your situation where you find that your friends or somebody doesn't necessarily like somebody that you're with or dating?
Yeah, but that's not my problem. I'm not responsible for their thoughts and actions.
You're absolutely right.
So I just accept what they tell me and do what I have to do.
Well, the other thing that plays into this is very helpful is that Caren is perfect.
Yeah, like Mary Poppins.
Okay, before we go.
Practically
Yep, like a hot Mary Poppins.
Okay, Dave.
Practically perfect.
What's one thing Caren does that drives you insane?
Dun, 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 dun. Wow.
Is he a smart man? We'll find out.
Stay tuned.
Right now. ThePathToPartnership.com. I got it right.
Also, the Path to Partnership has a Facebook page.
Okay, so you can go there and type that in and get your information.
Exactly.
Well, Happy New Year. Enjoy yourselves down at the Big Cherry Tea Ball Drop. I know that it's going to be a little chilly this year, but good for you. Good for you guys.
We'll bring our hand warmers. We'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go.